My name is Sonny Malone. I'm with Sugar Creek Ag, and we're out of Kentucky. I was somewhat familiar with nanotechnology, and I knew that it provided benefit to the growers and all that good stuff. I'd heard about it already, done some research. So to me, everything we do is we try to either be more efficient in what we're doing or use better products, which is often leads to efficiency. But everything about Nano is just being more efficient. And I told them, I said, guys, you're never going to go out with the confidence to sell this stuff until you actually see it. I gave them product. I gave about 4 or 5 sales reps product, and I said, get it out in the field, follow up with your guys. And to a man, every one of them were like, gee, that stuff's awesome. And I'm like, I wish you'd have done it last year, but at least they started the process to see what it will do. And now I've got 2 or 3 of them here today who I invited last year, but based on results that they saw, they want to learn more. Nano Pro, that's the one that we lead with the most because herbicide and weed control is becoming a bigger problem. That is the way that we do it. I love the price point. You're not asking the farmer to spend a whole lot of money to use the product. The difference that it makes for that application and the money it cost them, it's a no-brainer. The beauty of it is when you solve a problem for somebody. And I did a grower meeting the other day, and I told them, I said, I love selling the products that I sell because it's rewarding when somebody comes back to you after the fact and says, man, that stuff is great. A lot of times they're shocked, because they've had this problem for years. Taking down water hemp in Western Kentucky and Southern Indiana and Southern Illinois is a big deal. And just haven't had a whole lot of luck doing it. But when they can make a difference and put a real big dent in that weed problem, they're very excited. So yeah, they're just glad to have another tool that actually works. One of the things that growers always ask us is, can I use less chemistry? If I'm using Nano-Yield, can I use less nitrogen? Can I cut back when I use this product? A lot of my growers and dealers kind of made those decisions on their own, doing their own due diligence, and found that they could reduce, not drastically, but enough to at least help pay for the cost of the nano products and get just as good as, if not better results, and not spending any more money. Say somebody's going out at 40 or 50 gallons of liquid nitrogen in a side dress application, you can add Nano-Yield, cut back 3 or 4 gallons to account for the cost of the Nano-Yield, and you're getting a much better application than spending no more money. When we were introduced to the nano products, again, it was something that we wanted to offer because it's a quality product, and nothing speaks more to that than the data that they have. I find it funny all the time whenever you present a grower with any kind of product, they always want to know what kind of data you got. But that is a beautiful question when somebody asks about nano, because you can present mountains of it. And if that can get that farmer over the hump to at least try it, that's great. So to me, that is the data is one of the things that kind of speaks to the quality and performance of the products. What I find to be the coolest thing about the product, you can add it almost anything. If you're, they say every tank, every pass, right? That's the beauty of it. Whatever's in that tank, it's going to load and help deliver to that plant cell faster and more efficiently. So that's the beauty of it. It works almost anywhere you use it. The thing that I love the most, and it may sound hokey, yeah, I'm in this to make a living. I'm trying to build a business, but the reward that I get from selling the products that we sell, nano included, is when somebody uses it and it fixes a problem, or they're very pleased with the results. And probably the best thing is when they go into it maybe thinking, I don't know about this, but then they see it, you kind of share in that excitement with them. So that's really, it sounds a little hokey, but that's really what I like most about selling a product. When you can walk in and give them a product that is truly unique and it works for them, that gives you a little bit more credibility for that customer, and it often leads to more business, whether it's more nano sales or whether it's other products you might have to offer as well. So it's a relationship builder because you're doing something good for somebody right out of the gate. This product actually fits right into that perfectly, because when we say this is what it's going to do, it does it. whatever's in that tank, it's going to load and help deliver to that plant cell faster and more efficiently. So that's the beauty of it. It works almost anywhere you use it. And probably the best thing is when they go into it, maybe thinking, I don't know about this. But then they see it, you kind of share in that excitement with them. So that's really, it sounds a little hokey, but that's really what I like most about selling the product.